Reddit recently announced its Q1 performance results, which had very interesting insights into the factors behind the impressive results. This has interesting impact for the marketing world. Whether you're handling SEO strategies, running a D2C or a B2B brand, or simply curious about where social media is headed, there's something in this episode for you. So grab your coffee or whatever that helps you settle in, and let's talk about the platform that calls itself the front page of the internet and whether it deserves a front page spot in your marketing strategy. Reddit dropped their Q1 report, and I've got to say, they are crushing it. They reported $243 million in revenue for the first quarter of 2025, which represents a 44% year over year growth. That's not just good, that's exceptional in the current digital landscape. What's most impressive from a marketing point of view is that their user base is growing steadily. They are now seeing about 82.7 million daily active users. That's up 37% from the same period last year. And based on their estimate of growing in number of users, they're expecting revenue to grow 40% year over year in the next quarter. So, what's driving this growth? Well, it seems Reddit's IPO last year has given them some momentum. But more importantly, they have been making strategic moves to monetize their platform better while keeping their uniquely open community culture intact. Their CEO made it clear that they are focusing on expanding their advertising business while also exploring AI data licensing deals. This two pronged approach seems to be working well for them financially. So, the big question on everyone's mind is, with these impressive numbers, should D2C brands be taking Reddit more seriously? I think the answer is increasingly becoming yes, but with some important caveats. Reddit has always been a bit of a unique platform in the social media landscape. It's organized around interests rather than social connections, which means users are already grouped into communities based on what they care about. For D2C brands, this is gold. You can find subreddits dedicated to practically any niche product category you can imagine. Take subreddit r slash mechanical keyboards with its 1.5 million members passionate about custom keyboards, or r slash skincare addiction with over 2 million users discussing products in detail. These are essentially pre made focus groups for brands that fit those niches. What's changed recently is that Reddit is getting better at making these communities accessible to advertisers. They've been improving their ad platform, offering more targeting options, and making it easier for brands to engage authentically. They're also expanding their programmatic advertising options, which makes it simpler for D2C brands to include Reddit in their broader digital strategies. But here's the caveat: Reddit users are notoriously allergic to obvious marketing. The platform rewards brands that show up as genuine community members, providing real value rather than just pushing products. So, D2C brands need to approach Reddit with a community first mindset. For B2B brands, it's a bit more complicated. There are certainly thriving professional communities on Reddit. Mm, you can find subreddits like r slash marketing, r slash SEO, slash SaaS. But the B2B buying cycle is more complex, which doesn't always align well with Reddit's user experience. I'll explain this a bit. A typical B2B sales cycle requires multiple stakeholders. Reddit primarily connects you with individual users who might be just one voice in that complex buying committee. You are unlikely to reach the entire decision making unit through Reddit. Then, B2B sales cycle often span months or even years with multiple touchpoints. Reddit's strength is more in spontaneous discussions and immediate engagement rather than nurturing prospects through a lengthy, structured decision process. If you look at the B2B sales cycle closely, it requires formal vendor assessment processes, including RFPs, security reviews, and procurement procedures. Reddit's informal community structure doesn't readily support these more structured business processes. Most Reddit users are browsing in their personal capacity, even in professional subreddits. They are not necessarily in a buying mindset for business solutions when on the platform. This differs from platforms like LinkedIn, where users are explicitly in a professional context. From the lens of content marketing, Reddit's format favors short form content and conversations rather than comprehensive materials typically needed to support B2B purchase decisions. And finally, Reddit's anonymous nature and the way users might consume content without logging in makes attribution more challenging. This poses a big challenge for B2B marketers who need clear attribution models to track effectiveness across longer sales cycles. One thing that really stood out to me from Reddit's recent communications is how they are leaning into their status as one of the last major platforms that doesn't require users to sign in to view content. In an era where platforms like X and Meta are increasingly putting content behind login walls, Reddit is swimming against the tide. This raised an important question in my mind. Is this just a marketing pitch to attract more users? Or does it signal a deeper trend? It seems to be both. Reddit is absolutely using this openness as a differentiator, especially when trying to attract new users who might be hesitant to create yet another social media account. It's a low friction way to bring people into the Reddit ecosystem. But I also think it reflects a genuine strategic choice about Reddit's place in the internet landscape. By keeping content open, they may maintain their status as a searchable knowledge base that's deeply integrated with the broader web. This openness is what has made Reddit results so prevalent in Google searches over the years, something that's become a significant traffic driver for them. There's also a financial angle here. By allowing non logged in users to view content, Reddit can serve ads to a much larger audience than just their registered user base. It's likely this openness is part of what's driving their impressive revenue growth. Now, does this signal a broader trend toward more open platforms? I'm not sure. The dominant trend in social media still seems to be toward more closed ecosystems where platforms can better control the user experience and data collection. But Reddit's success might cause some platforms to consider hybrid approaches. What I do think we are seeing is a bifurcation in the market. Some platforms becoming more closed and focusing on highly engaged registered users, while others remain open as discovery platforms. For marketers, this means we need to think about how different platforms serve different functions in our marketing funnels. Speaking of bifurcation in social media, I think it's important to talk about decentralized platforms like Blue Sky. These platforms are gaining tractions with users looking for alternatives to the big centralized networks, especially among tech savvy audiences. This raises another interesting question. Can Reddit benefit from this trend? On the surface, Reddit and platforms like Blue Sky seem quite different. Reddit is still fundamentally a centralized platform, while Blue Sky is built on decentralized protocols. But I think there's a philosophical alignment between them. Both emphasize user control, community governance, and a certain resistance to algorithmic manipulation of content. Reddit has always had a community first approach with subreddits managed by volunteer moderators rather than central authorities. This decentralized governance, even within a centralized technical architecture, gives Reddit some cultural alignment with the values driving interest in truly decentralized platforms. I think there's an opportunity for Reddit to position itself as a bridge between traditional social media and the decentralized future. Centralized enough to provide a coherent user experience and advertising platform, but decentralized enough in its community structure to appeal to users growing tired of algorithm dominated feeds. What does this mean for marketers? It suggests that community building skills are becoming increasingly important. Whether you are engaging on Reddit or experimenting with decentralized platforms, the ability to participate authentically in communities rather than just broadcasting messages will be key. Finally, let's talk about what might be the most interesting long term implication of Reddit's positioning: its potential role in the new AI search landscape. As we have seen with Google's AI overviews and other AI search tools, these systems need high quality, trusted content sources to generate their responses. Reddit's vast repository of human conversations, questions, and answers makes it incredibly valuable in this context. Reddit has already struck data licensing deals with Google and other AI companies, essentially selling access to their content for AI training and real time responses. This means content from Reddit is likely to feature prominently in AI generated search results. For brands, this creates a compelling reason to maintain an active presence on Reddit. If you want your products, services, or expertise to be included in AI overviews, being well represented on Reddit might be one path to achieving that. Think about it. When someone asks an AI assistant about the best wireless headphones or enterprise software solutions, responses will likely be informed by discussions happening on platforms like Reddit. By participating in these conversations, brands can indirectly influence AI search results. But there's a catch. Just as with traditional Reddit marketing, authenticity is paramount. AI systems are getting better at recognizing promotional content versus genuine discussions. Brands that approach Reddit with a community first mindset, focusing on providing value rather than pushing products, will be more likely to benefit from this AI search connection. So, what's the bottom line here? Should Reddit be in your marketing mix based on these Q1 results? For D2C brands, I think the answer is increasingly yes, especially if there are already active communities related to your product category. Reddit's growing user base and improving ad platform make it more attractive than ever. For B2B brands, Reddit is worth exploring primarily as a research and thought leadership platform rather than a direct response channel. There's value there, but it requires a different approach than typical B2B marketing. Regardless of your brand category, I'd recommend three specific actions. Start by listening. Spend time understanding the subreddits relevant to your industry before jumping in with marketing content. Then focus on providing value. Whether you are posting organically or running ads, lead with information that genuinely helps the community. And finally, consider Reddit's role in your marketing strategy for getting discovered in AI generated responses. As AI search becomes more prevalent, Having a thoughtful presence on Reddit could help ensure your brand is represented in AI generated responses. Reddit's openness, combined with its community structure and new AI partnerships, creates unique opportunities for brands willing to engage on the platform's terms. Looking at their strong Q1 performance, it seems that they are figuring out how to balance monetization with maintaining their distinctive community culture. And that's good news for marketers looking for new channels to explore. That's all for today's episode of Likely Marketing. If you found this episode meaningful, please subscribe to catch the next episode. This is Shiv signing off. Until next time, keep those marketing strategies sharp and your Reddit comments even sharper.